In today's episode of the podcast, we're diving a little deeper into double folded collar neckline territory as I share with you somewhat of a Ravelry bundle browse of patterns that have just this particular design element. If that sounds like just your cozy cup of something, get comfy and let's dive in. Hello, 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 and welcome to the Wool Needles Hands podcast. My name is Taylor, and I will be your host. Now, today is Project Update Day, and I really don't have a whole lot to update you on my current knitting projects or my embroidery projects. It's been hot and muggy, and we've been just busy, and I haven't got a lot of stuff done. Okay, we're just gonna be straight up honest. I did put new buttons on this cardigan. I don't know if you remember in my office tour, I had this cardigan on my mannequin Gladys. Now she's wearing a sweater which is absolutely not a hand knit sweater. I think I picked this up at Target. But what I wanted to do with this sweater was get some new buttons. And it just had these like plain white plastic buttons. This doesn't qualify as a project, really. But I put new buttons on it. And they're like little brown tortoiseshell plastic buttons that I picked up at the craft store. And I love it. This is a store-bought cardigan, so it's no big deal. But I just wanted to update it with some buttons. I'm super proud of the way that came out. Okay, that's neither here nor there. What I want to talk to you guys about today, or really I want to share with you, are some patterns that have double folded necklines. And that's not the only thing I want to talk to you guys about today. I want to talk to you a little bit about how and why I think, or not how and why, but why I think that Ravelry needs to create a filterable attribute in its search area for just this particular design element. So if you watched the last episode that I posted on Wednesday, so Wednesday's midweek ramble, we talked about double folded collars. And I share with you why you would want it, maybe why you would avoid it, and various different things like that. However, I did suggest that I wanted to do like a pattern rundown where we dig through some patterns that have this particular design element. And that's what I want to do today. But I also, like I said, wanted to share that it's really hard to just narrow down a search for this on Ravelry. And I want to demonstrate that for you. And I want to share with you how you can go about doing something that gets you pretty close to narrowing down your Ravelry search. I don't know, that was a whole lot of words to tell you that we are going to do something I like to call a bundle browse, where I have put together a Ravelry bundle of patterns, a favorites bundle on Ravelry that qualify as having a double folded collar. And we're just going to go in there and browse through what I found. I'm going to share with you some ones that I really love, why I love them, and various different things like that. I will give you the link to this bundle down below if you want to access the bundle and look at it with me. It's completely up to you. But before I do that, and I'm sorry, it is hotter than the devil himself outside and twice as sweaty. It is a muggy day, so it's water for me today. Nothing too exciting. It's so hot outside. And there's a forest fire or wildfire somewhere, and so it's smoky. You don't care about this. This isn't why you're here. Let's head over to Ravelry right now. We're going to do this right now. I want to share this with you. Okay, so this is the Ravelry pattern search browse section, what you can see right here. Well, we're over here, you have the filter your search column. There's all kinds of different kind of points that you can click on to filter out your search for what it is that you're looking for. Well, considering how many of those we have, like if we just go over here to attributes for just a second, and keeping in mind that we're talking about double folded necklines, and that means those really lovely necklines, I'll pop a picture up so you can see it, that have been folded double, so it gives them a nice thickness, a little bit of a luxe, very professional finished look, if you will. You can't very easily filter for that particular attribute. So if I go over here to design element, and I've searched through these, okay, but if I go to design element and maybe I go down here to collar, we'll start with collar first. There's nothing here that says anything that would be a double folded collar. And rolled collars, that's not what that means. A rolled collar means that there's no ribbing. You just go right into stockinette stitch and then the fabric will fold naturally. There's nothing here for a double folded collar. And then if I go to edging, nothing. And then if I go to neck, also nothing. And you can take my word for it. I've looked several times to try to see if there was a way to filter this out for a design that uses the element of folding the neckline double and seaming it down or knitting it down so that you have a really lovely double rolled neckline. Nothing. There's no way to do this. Unless I am completely mistaken and I have looked and looked and looked and I just can't find any way to do this based on the filter. So what I do, or what I have done when I've gone in here diving around trying to find double folded collars, is I go into the search box. Now, before I figured out which, I mean, I would just type in double folded collar. That was kind of the first thing that I typed, double folded collar. And I got this one result, and this is not what I'm looking for. This is a shawl collar, not what I'm looking for. And so then I typed in double folded collar, but this time I hyphenated it. This looks like it's not good, but this is promising. And the reason why this is promising is because it gives me the option to try searching inside pattern notes. And the reason this is good is because when designers write their pattern pages, or when knitters create their pattern pages for designs they're knitting, within their notes, they will most likely mention if the collar is double folded. It's just, I've noticed that if there is a pattern that has a double folded collar as a design element in the sample, it is in some way mentioned in the pattern notes. And so I'm going to click on the link that says search in notes. Not everything I find here is going to be a double folded collar, but a lot of what I find here will be, because those words, double folded collar, are used in the pattern notes. In fact, I even made a list of all of the different ways that double folded collar was mentioned in a particular pattern. I was curious to know all the different ways I could search for this particular design element on Ravelry. And so as I was finding patterns that had double folded collars, I was creating notes of all the ways that that was mentioned in the pattern notes. And here are all the ways that a double folded collar is referred, or how it's referred to in the pattern notes. We have double folded neckline, double folded collar, double neckband, a folded rib edge at the neck, a cozy folded neckband, tidy folded neckband, a folded crew neck. A neat ribbed neckband is folded and stitched into place. A double neck. Those are all ways that I have seen mentioned in patterns, all referring to the same thing, and in most cases the same technique for achieving that thing, which is a double folded collar. And so it begs the question, number one, why do we not have a standard for what this is? And I feel like a double folded collar or a double folded neckline has become the standard terminology for what this is. That's what I mean by that. And number two, when we develop a standard terminology for this, can we please put a filter element in the attributes section on Ravelry so we can then filter our pattern searches for this? Because this is a very commonly used design element that for some people is the reason why they're knitting the pattern, because they really love that gorgeous double folded neckline. I emailed Ravelry this morning because I was just so, not in a tizzy about it, but I just felt like it was something that needed to be added to Ravelry. And so I emailed them this morning, letting them know that there's a need for a new attribute filter on the filtered section of the search for a double folded neckline. We shall see what happens. I'll keep you guys posted. Anyway, this is how I operate. When I want to search for something, I want to be able to filter by it. And it was really interesting coming up with, or finding, all the different ways that people refer to a double folded neckline. Some are just simple, a double neck, and some are more convoluted or descriptive in terms of how to accomplish the double neck. But there wasn't just one standard terminology. So I feel like we need to create one. Double folded neckline or double folded collar. That's what I'm voting for. Anyway, here we are. This is how you could go about finding a selection of patterns that satisfies that particular attribute. You could then go over here. For example, I could further filter this down to all clothing, but I mean, that's mostly what I'm getting over here anyway. And then if you want to go by gender, you can do that as well. But putting into the search box, double folded collar, double folded neckband, let's see what happens. Fewer, so that's not as commonly used. Double folded neckline. I can't type today. More. Okay, double folded neckline has 38 matches. Double folded collar, and not all of those are necessarily double folded, I'm just saying. Double folded collar has 102 matches, so that means that that is more frequently used to describe that particular design element. Double folded neck, 84. What about just a double neck? I don't think that's going to be commonly used. 84. Yeah, so I think that double folded collar, 102 matches. I mean, I think that's just the most likely to be the standard terminology. Okay, are we here? Are you ready? Let's head over to my favorites bundle for double folded collars right here. This has a little over 30 patterns in it. These are patterns that, as I was diving into this particular design element, that I found were some of my favorites, or that I just thought offered something different. Maybe designers I was less familiar with, something like that. So I just wanted to share this with you guys today because there's some stuff in here that I really think is awesome. And for these, they all have a double folded collar. Okay, we're gonna start here. The one I really wanted to start with was Gemma. This is Gemma by Joanna Ong. It is a gorgeous, textured, cabled, kind of classic Aran sweater. It's got these very gorgeous balloon type sleeves. You can tell that there's very little tapering, if any tapering at all. I kind of doubt it. On the sleeves, there's just kind of a rapid decrease down when it gets to the cuff. But other than that, everything is very kind of generous and not open, but looser fitting. You can see in the different ways that she wears the sweater. It's not a tight fitting sweater. I love the neckline. It is a double folded neckline. I love that it sits a little away from the neck. It's a little bit more feminine than a traditional Aran crew neck, a high and tight crew neck. And typically I do really like a high and tight crew neck. And I think that this kind of achieves a little bit of both. It does sit away from the neck, but it's more in this like funnel neck way and less in like a boat neck or something that looks overly large. This is just really stunning. And then these gorgeous diamond shaped cable motifs on the front. It's absolutely beautiful. I love this. This design is available in English. It's €7.95. It has sizes ranging from extra small to 5XL. It uses a worsted weight yarn or 2 fingering weights held together to create a worsted weight. And I think it's just gorgeous. I want to just, oh, it's an intermediate skill level. I love the color. Yeah, it's worked from the top down, beginning with the 1x1 twisted rib for the double folded neckband. The back of the neck is shaped using German short rows with increases to each end of the shoulders. And then you can read more about that here. It says it's 15% off. Wow, this discount has been here since 2023. Interesting. Okay, so I love this one. I thought this was gorgeous. I added it to the bundle. I just love it. I wanted to share this one with you here. This is the Sez sweater. Now, when you go here to the link, this pattern is actually available for free. However, if you click on this link, like I did earlier, you can't get there. There's nowhere to go. And so I had to do a little digging to figure out where that link was, and I found it. The Novita Sumivia Sez Colorwork sweater. This is the entire pattern for this sweater. It is absolutely free. And the purpose for me sharing that with you is because I believe that it is such a beautiful sweater, a gorgeous colorwork motif. We do have a gorgeous rolled neckline. If I can zoom in here so you can see it, there's a beautiful rolled neckline here and up here. And I just think it is absolutely stunning, and it's a free pattern. And I think that's great. Yeah, I just really love that. Now this particular motif right here is very subtle in the contrast. I feel like there's not much contrast between this light gray color here and the brown. And then you get the contrast with the white. That, I mean, that may or may not be to your preference, but I think it's a really gorgeous sweater. The shape of the sweater is nice and luxurious and generous. It's not pulling anywhere on that circular colorwork yoke. I just think it's really lovely. And then of course, I love that folded neckband. Now I will link to this sweater down below in the description box separately so that you can access it, because the link, like I said, on Ravelry is not working. Okay, this next one I had never seen before. This was my first time when I dove into double folded colors, my first time seeing this. This is called Claude Troyer or Claude Troyer, I don't know, by Joanna Garish. And that also could be a mispronunciation. You're just going to have to go with it with my pronunciation. I don't necessarily know how to pronounce all these names. But look at how beautiful this sweater is. Now, This is a double rolled neckline, or excuse me, a double folded collar. I shouldn't say rolled neckline, something separate, and I don't want to confuse you. But this is a double folded collar, but it's also got this really gorgeous kind of, I don't know, Henley style neckline with these beautiful buttons and a wide button band. And I think it's just stunning. I really do. I want to get a little closer onto that collar here. Look at that. Whoops. This looks like it's in the process of being knit still. There's some raw edges right here, but it's really beautiful. Let's go here. Isn't that so pretty? I really love this. And it's all garter stitch. It's just a garter stitch sweater. Is that... Yeah, top down in one piece. The shoulders and the round neck are shaped with raglan increases and additional increases for the neckline. Afterwards, back and both front parts are worked separately to shape the armholes. As soon as you have reached the desired length, back and front parts are joined and worked for several centimeters, back and forth in rows, until all parts are joined to the round and finished with a hem in 1x1 ribs. So yeah, it's just garter stitch. But it's, you know, sometimes garter stitch has a tendency to look very... How about I say garter stitch tends to look less luxe. All right, there's a simplicity about it that makes it look very handmade and not a professional. It doesn't have a professional vibe sometimes. I'm just saying. However, this, I don't get that from this. And I think that's because the neckline, the placket on the front with the buttons, the shape of the overall sweater is very polished and finished and thoughtful. And so that garter stitch just becomes a really cool texture. And I love that. It doesn't have this like simplistic, I mean, it's simple in its style and minimal and all of that, but the garter stitch, I think right here really shines. And I love that. So this is the Claude Troyer. It's a pattern that's available for €6.99. It comes from sizes extra small to 5XL, available in English, Danish, French, and German. And I think it's gorgeous. I'm leaving that in my favorites. Okay, this next one. I have been noticing more patterns by the Knit Purl girl. I can't remember her first name. I want to say it's Sonia. Let's see. Knit Purl girl. Sophie. I'm sorry. Sophie. I've been noticing more of her patterns lately, and I feel like they are very intuitive and thoughtful and lovely. This one is absolutely no exception, particularly with the neckline, but also some really lovely design elements that I love. All right, let's look at the cobalt blue one here first. Now this, from what it says in the description, the lightning bolt cables that you see here, that's where the name comes from. These are the tendril cables, the lightning bolts. It says in the description of the pattern here that the tendril sweater is a slightly oversized drop shoulder sweater with lightning bolt cables, tendril in Gaelic for lightning, on the front panel. And I think that they're so interesting looking. I'm not a fan of chevron anything, but it's interesting what happens to a chevron style motif when it's vertical. It like becomes lightning, right? Horizontal chevrons, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't know why. I'm just not. But this, the way that these lightning bolt cables are situated, where they're situated, this is a very classic looking sweater. I absolutely love this. I love the overall shape. I love that double rolled, double folded collar. But look at this. Look at this one. Look at the split hem option here. I shared this on the Ravelry Roulette over on the Patreon, and I was just, my jaw dropped at how lovely the way that this split hem was done. It's so nice and neat and tidy. And these additional ribs right here, right below where, or excuse me, above where the hem splits, is such a thoughtful addition to the design. It does seem like it's kind of, you know, obviously offset, but it's so intentional looking. It just looks so intentional and beautiful. And I love this. I love that split hem. I just love the overall look of that sweater right there. And then I saw this one. I don't know if you can see this really well on my screen, the way my lights are shining right now. This is a V-neck, and it's a double folded collar V-neck, and it is absolutely stunning. What a fantastic sweater. It's got the split hem. It's got this really lovely deep V. I think there's a picture of her here wearing it. That's better. You can kind of see it a little bit better here. What a fantastic sweater. Double folded collar, gorgeous shape, kind of your go-to throw on pullover. I probably would make my sleeves just, I don't know, maybe like 3/4 of an inch to an inch longer than that. But even here, I just love it. I think it's fantastic. So this is the Tendril sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl. Another great one if you're looking for a double folded collar, and then especially if you're looking for a split hem. I'm obsessed. I love it. Okay, let's do a few more. This one, I thought this was cool. This is by Trin Anelli or Trin Anelli, depending on how you pronounce that. This is called the Iris. This sweater caught my eye, and it's funny because it's not necessarily because it's the style of sweater. Okay, I really love the color work motif here. I think that these Trin Anelli's color work motifs are gorgeous. It's an all over motif. It's bold. It's beautiful. The colors that she has chosen here are of my dreams. I think that these colors, I would love to do a shop update with Fiber for the People yarn in this palette of colors. We have this like gorgeous, rich brown, a little bit of an earthy taupe here, kind of a golden nut brown, like a light Wedgwood, a navy, a gray. What an amazing, oh, and then, you know, like a nude. What an amazing color palette. I love this sweater, but it also features a double rolled collar. Now this double rolled collar, I like the way it looks. I wish she weren't touching it so much in the photos, because I can see here that as much as I like the way this looks, I worry that it would stretch, that the integrity of the collar would become compromised. I don't know, over time as you wear it and pull it over your head, there's something about the way that it lays that concerns me a little bit. However, if that were not to happen, and it were to hold on to its shape, and look at this gorgeous motif. Oh my gosh. But if it were to hold on to its shape, I think here's a really good example of what I'm talking about. You see how it kind of goes up and over the shoulder and it kind of bends this way. It goes up like this and then it goes whoosh like this. That suggests that it's a little too loose. You can see her shirt underneath here. I just get that maybe it's a little too loose vibe. I might have wanted this to be a deeper neck, or maybe, I don't know. A little concerning, but I could not help but include this one because it does have the double folded collar, but it just has this gorgeous color work motif with these amazing colors. I'm sorry, I think it's stunning. And she's using Hulsgarn, super soft, which is a, it's 50/50. So you have merino and Shetland, which is a fantastic combination if you want something that's going to hold its shape, be good for color work, but not be too toothy. The merino keeps it nice and soft and luxurious here. Oh my goodness. I absolutely love it. Um, let's go back here. Oops. The pullover is worked top down as a dropped shoulder construction. You can see that here. Okay, we got this real deep drop shoulder happening right here. It starts at the shoulder with 2 sets of double knitting cast on, which will give the impression of a tight line of stitches running down the shoulders. It says it starts at the shoulder with 2 sets of double knitting cast on. Okay, this right here is your double knitting cast on that it's talking about, and it gives it this like real lovely seam that's happening here on the shoulder, real unique. And I think that's so cool. The shoulder and the initial neckline shaping for back and front are worked flat in the main color using short rows. Before it is all joined and around for the color work, I'm sorry, let me read this again. The shoulder and the initial neckline shaping for back and front are worked flat in main color using short rows. Before it is all joined in the round for the color work with steek stitches for the armhole and neckline openings. Okay. Yoke and body are then finished top down in the round with a faux seam at the sides as a special feature. There's a lot going on here. I would say this is definitely intermediate. It looks like she's clocking it in as an intermediate design as well. But doesn't it just look like a warm, cozy blanket to wear when it starts to get cold and you put the kettle on, you have no plans on leaving the house, you just curl up with this. I think it's gorgeous. I'm mostly drawn, however, to this amazing motif. Oh, I just think it's fabulous. And those colors. I might have to create a collection of those colors. I don't know. I just think it's stunning. I can't. It's fantastic. Okay. Let's see what else I have in the bundle here. And you are free to just go browse this bundle. I'm not going to go through all of these. There's an awful lot. So please feel free to browse the bundle, right? The next one that I want to share, some of these I know are more familiar. Let's go to, oh, let's do this one. This one's great. It's shown here on both a man and a woman. This is by Jared Flood. This is the Typewriter sweater. This came out last year. And I haven't seen, I mean, Jared Flood, I usually know him for having seam designs, designs that are very structured. This one is top down, seamless, in the round, try on as you go, and it's gorgeous. Let's get this photo here because it kind of shows a little bit of the texture, and then I'll read some of the description. It does have that lovely double folded collar, drop shoulders happening here, and just look at this gorgeous texture paired with that double folded collar. I mean, it kind of reminds me of sweater number 2. My favorite things knitwear has a sweater, and I can't remember which sweater it is. I actually started knitting it, and I can't remember which one it is, but it has a very similar kind of texture going on here, and I love that. Yeah, it's a fantastic looking sweater. Oh, look at the sides here. You see the ribs going down the sides right here? That's really pretty. Okay, this is a $16 pattern. Now, when you buy a Brooklyn Tweed pattern, you are getting a lot. You're getting a lot more than just the basic pattern. Lots of links, lots of instruction, lots of detailed tutorials, things like that, lots of photographs. You're getting a lot. So just keep that in mind, but it's $16. The Typewriter sweater gives a modern nod to seaworthy pullovers from ages past. Big impact textures paired with a boxy cocoon shape make this a cuddle-worthy wardrobe warrior. The linear rhythms of the soothing stitch pattern remind us of the tap, tap, tapping of an old typewriter, comforting and familiar. The simple banded stitch, when worked in a chunky yarn, amplifies the nostalgia like a cartoon version of your favorite sweater. That's really cute. This picture here kind of emphasizes that. It's very oversized. The sleeves are very generous. Pay attention to those sleeves because they are generous. And for some, it may not be what you're after. It's a lot of fabric on the lower part of your arm. However, if that's your thing, it is a really adorable sweater and I love the texture. And I feel like here, this is a prime example of a double folded collar being right where it needs to be because it really balances out all of the weight that you get from that texture. I just think it's lovely. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let's do one more to top this off. This is the Lowkey Cardigan by Liv Ulven. It might just be Liv Ulven. I'm going with a little accented I there, who's to say. This is lovely. It's a cardigan. It does have a double folded collar. Let's see if we can find a picture that zooms in on that. It's very similar. I'm going to go out here just for a second. It's very similar to this neckline here, minus the fact that this is not a cardigan. Okay, so this, what you see happening right here, is also happening on the Lowkey cardigan as well, and you can see that here. Okay, very similar construction, but it does have a double folded neckline, and I just love it. Really lovely button band, a narrow button band, not super wide. It's got these really cute pockets. Let's zoom back out here, folks. Oh, look at this picture here. How adorable is that? It really is fantastic. A perfect hiking cardigan, like real heavy, kind of like a cardigan jacket. It's quite stunning. Ugh, I love this color. What is this yarn? Let's find out about this yarn. Okay, so this is, I'm probably mispronouncing this, Oner Ok Ear by Newtiden. And I love that yarn. It's a pencil roving yarn, so it's an unspun yarn, very similar to Platelopi. And it looks like that's all she's using here. It says, Lowkey Cardigan is a low-key, elegant, and contemporary cardigan with an oversized fit, featuring long, cozy sleeves and body, a high folded or alternatively a simple high neckline, and optional pockets. The cardigan is knitted from the bottom up in the round and then steeked. The sleeves are knit separately and then joined with the body on a long circular needle. I want to know a little bit more about the yarn. held double. Okay, so she is just holding knitted in yarn double here. Interesting. Your individual yarn consumption will vary based on your yarn gauge, size, and the desired sleeve body length. It's advisable to get a little more than you think you'll need. Please note that this is an estimate. Yes, absolutely. It's important that designers clarify estimates on the pattern page because it is true. They cannot tell you how much you're absolutely going to need. You have to know going in that it's an estimate. And then she gives some substitutes here: Wool Dreamers, Manchelapi, I've never heard of that one, and Istex Platulopi, or an Aran or worsted weight yarn. Okay, like Letlopi by Istex. I just think this is so lovely. And it has that really luxe double folded collar that I love. You get a combo. You get a nice flat ribbed button band placket, and then you get the double rolled neckline, and it just looks like something I throw on when it's cold outside. And that's what I love. I absolutely love that. So that's the Lowkey Cardigan. Okay, we are going to stop it there, but I definitely encourage you to check out the bundle and to follow any links that I put down in the description box because there's some really great patterns there, and to play around with when you search for design elements on Ravelry, if you can't find the attributes in the attribute section, kind of get clever with how you word the search that you put in the search box. And always, if nothing pops up, then search within the pattern notes because you're liable to find something in there that matches what you're searching for. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I thought I'd take you down this rabbit hole a little bit further with me. I've had my fill of double folded necklines for a while, but if there's another design element that you would like to talk about where I give a little bit of a deep dive and then maybe we do a little bit of a bundle browse or a Ravelry roulette, I do want to do another one of those for the channel. Let me know. In the meantime, thank you guys for joining me. I am going to get back into my projects this week and catch you guys up on everything that I've been doing with that. So I might be flip-flopping. You might see that Wednesday's a project update video, or it's just going to be my regular midweek ramble and I save my project update video for Sunday. We shall see. But whatever happens, happy knitting, happy making, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye.